Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
I'm gonna talk about this real quick because this shit is actually, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. Yeah, it's been like this since preseason. Okay, so let's talk. Since I have time, I have seen. Okay, let's step it back. Okay, I'm convinced. I've been saying this on stream. I'm convinced that climbing to high elo is pretty much assured. The reason why I say it's assured for me, and I think it's just a time sink. And I'm just gonna say it now. I'm gonna make the prediction now. I'm gonna make the prediction now that it'll be pretty easy for me to make high elo, but it's only going to be a time sink. And the reason I'm going to say that is because there's been a couple of things that have happened, okay? And I have kind of a weird situation because I've never had an account on Korea before. So let's, like I said, let's just take a break because I've lost 3, so it's a good time to take a break and talk about this so everybody can kind of understand where my head's at. Now, I'm bitching in these games, but this is like, this is just facts. Like, this is just what's happened. Okay, so how can I do this properly? Like, how can I demo this? So let's just say that from, you know, iron, and let me get into this with a proper disclaimer. My intent is to not demoralize newbies from playing ranked. If anything, I want, like, at the end of this, I want you guys to realize that, like, lower elo players, until you've really broken into like diamond range, it doesn't really affect you. You can still enjoy League and you can still like enjoy the game. It's just, I'm gonna get into this to explain how this works, but like, my intent here is to not make you not want to play. My intent is to just point out a problem that's happened over the last like decade, basically. So from iron to, you know, we've got iron, and I'm just gonna draw it out. So we've got iron, we've got bronze, right? We've got silver, we've got gold, we got plat, and then we've got diamond, right? We've got master, and then we'll just say plus, okay? So let's just talk about this for a second. When you make an account and you're a legitimately new player, okay, and this could be anything from you play with a, you know, you play really slow, like your APM's slow, you know, you lock your screen or whatever the hell. Most all the players are gonna reside right here, okay? And this is what I basically, I'm putting platinum in here, and like platinum's kind of an interesting spot because it kind of like is right on that line, but a lot of diamond players like get in there too, right? So what's gonna happen is this is called like the introductory elos, okay? So like this, like, and that's what I've called it over the years in coaching, because it's just like, until you like fix some sort of like glaring bullshit that you're doing, you're probably never gonna get into platinum until you fix like a glaring issue. So like a glaring issue would be, lock screen. You got lock screen, you got fucking low APM, like just like a really like low player, or you just like don't like use your cooldowns properly ever, like you just mismanage shit all the time, random champs all the time, maybe you just tilt like all the time, like tilt or like run it down, or like you just never master anything. It's like no masteries, like no champ mastery. So basically this is like, until you fix your game, you can pretty much, all of you guys can pretty much feel comfortable and like, oh, I get into ranked and I can get to diamond. Once you get into diamond and you want to go beyond diamond, it's really fucking hard, because what you're actually up against right now is insane. Like, it's actually crazy now. And again, I didn't really have this experience. I mean, Korea is a lot more optimized as a server. So like when I say optimized, like the players are just a lot better. They've been playing on low ping for a long time. But this isn't even exclusive to Korea. Honestly, this is just everywhere right now, because what happened is there used to be a Smurf queue, and what that was all these elos. If you won a bunch of games on a new account, you would just kind of like get into another queue, and it was just like a pretend, I'm gonna draw it with like a purple thing, I'm gonna just like, it's like a pretend queue. It would say that, well, you would never be in like iron, but it would be like gold, plat, even silver sometimes, plat. You would be in like a different queue. And so there would be all these players in the Smurf queue down here, right? And so you would never actually interact with the Smurf queue people unless you just like had like a monster win streak or something, or they had just started playing on the account or whatever. But then at the end, both queues would just kind of merge in here in like diamond range, right? Well, basically what's going on right now is Riot just removed Smurf queue when I got around diamond. Right, so basically at the end, it was like around preseason or something, they removed Smurf queue, and game quality just, it was weird because like game quality felt bad, but like I hadn't played for a couple years and I'd been kind of out of practice, and now I'm getting more and more warmed up, and I'm like, well, I feel like I'm sitting here studying, improving, grinding, whatever, but the game quality still just feels miserable. It doesn't feel very good. So why is that? Well, first, they removed Smurf queue, so now all those like Smurf accounts that like would just kind of be in a different queue, now they're in normal queues again. So it means that all games feel like Smurf queue games in Diamond. But there's an additional problem where I'm gonna just start from scratch here, and just so if I'm being honest, Diamond season like 7, Diamond season 8, Diamond season 9, and so on. If you have an account with Diamond 1 MMR in any of these seasons, or Masters MMR in any of these seasons, or whatever the fuck, you are, even though you haven't been active on the account, you're just allowed to jump in these games at any time. At the complete disrespect of people that are actively playing the game, you are allowed to jump in a game. So if you haven't been actively playing in these seasons, but you had a pretty high MMR, you could come in to season 13 now, that was considered, right? Season 13. You can now just come in here, and guess what? You could jump right into this game if you'd like. You can jump into Nice lobby on any of these accounts. Call this the account graveyard. Okay, so it's the account graveyard. Basically, what will happen is someone takes an account, and many of these diamond players, they have lots of them because they get the diamond, the mental game hits them, the skill ceiling hits them, and they make a new account. I used to do the same thing. for me personally, the reason I used to do the same thing is because I would climb up, I would hit that wall, a few times would go up, and I'd be like, ah, fuck this. I'm not gonna sit here on stream. That's not the only reason to do that. I mean, you could just do it because the games are hard. You could just do it because you want to stomp noobs. League isn't a fun dopamine experience if you never get to get fed, so you make a new account. So, and for me personally, what I'm seeing is when I look up teammates, they're clearly using an account that hasn't been active in a long time, and they're just playing a few games. If they win, they're going to stay on the account. If they're losing, they're going to just fuck with games until they get bored, and they're going to jump to a different account and try again. So what's going to happen is what's happening now with the ladder, and it's finally come to a head. Placements come out. Now the Smurf accounts have been set loose from all the, you know, the Smurf queue shit. So you've got this Smurf queue, right? So we'll just call it SQ. You've got the fucking diamond graveyard, right? And they all just go into this pool in placements. Now, if your account is like mine, it's a legitimate diamond account. As in, I clawed through the ranks to learn, to relearn the game. Now my account's sitting in diamond. I'm very confident that over time, I'm going to skip ahead to master, right? But until you get to master tier, this is just the most monumental time waste, time sink I have ever seen in League of Legends. I've never seen this. The reason it's a time waste, and then I didn't even include the fucking duo that's in here as well. Like, duo is like another thing entirely. You can duo too. You can mix in. Not only do you have these graveyard accounts, you also have duos that are doing it as well. So essentially, what's happening is you've got all these different accounts and weird situations going into diamond exclusively. That is acting like a big gatekeeper to master. But if you could just remove duoing, like once you've hit like, I don't know, gold MMR, if you could, right here, you got Smurf Q, so Smurf Q's gone, okay. Well, I'm sorry, Smurf Q, and you've got, so we got rid of duo, and we got Smurf Q, and we've got, what is this here? This is the diamond graveyard, right? So we remove duo, and then we make it so that when accounts haven't been active in, you know, a year or whatever, 6 months or whatever, they have to play a bunch of norms games in order to unlock the account for ranked again. You would fix this Smurf Q problem, and you would fix the diamond graveyard account problem. And then the ladder would immediately feel a lot better in your games. Your games would feel a lot better because players would know that they can't just tilt and switch accounts again. And yes, you're right. Reset MMR. True. Reset MMR. Because we've had about a, like I said, we've had about a decade of this. So essentially, what Faker's bitching about is all of this. Okay? You may not like me. You may not like my coaching, whatever. You may not agree with everything I say. But this is undeniable. This is what's happening. This is why ranked is fucked right now. Is because of this. Smurf Q has just been unloaded onto the world, and because the ladder has never had a hard reset, and again I have to reiterate, the only way this works is if accounts that are inactive for months at a time are forced to play normals games. We could start it at like 25 normals games before you can play ranked or something, but there has to be a way to restrict, and you can up it. 6 months it's 25 games, 1 year 50 games, a year and a half 75 games. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. The ladder integrity is really important, and it's super disrespectful to players like myself. I'm sitting here on one account, and I know in my heart that it's like, if I made a new account and I started fresh, I would have an easier climb than playing in the main account. That's not right. Like, again, I don't care who you are, that's not really right. That's not good for the ladder. Just like having people look people up in Champ Select is not good for the ladder. right? People that have a problem with the way that the champion select anonymity got removed, this would also fix a lot of those complaints, because players would be putting their best foot forward more often, because they would have to come into rank respectful of other people's time, because they can't just jump between accounts. So that's essentially what it is. So basically, once you've gotten to master tier, the game starts kind of opening up, right? The game starts kind of opening up again, because once you get into, so it's like, say you know, you got diamond, right? Once you get into master tier, the game actually opens up for you. Because if you've got there, that means there's no duo, right? And those accounts that you were bitching about, a lot of them, they just don't exist anymore. You don't have to deal with those anymore. So like the Smurf cube, they exist a little, but they don't show up nearly as often. There's very little Smurf QA now in your games. Because, and here's the other thing, those players that are master or higher, they get almost like grandfathered in. But then there's one more problem that like no one really, like, this is kind of like the elephant in the room. But there's also these things called riot accounts, okay? And I'm gonna give you my honest feedback on these, okay? So what riot accounts have Diamond 1 plus MMR, okay? By default. They have very high MMR by default. Now, here's the thing. And I'm trying to piece this all together so everybody can understand. These accounts, originally it was just so pros could practice solo queue in higher elo games. Okay, but here's the problem. Because they're either coded badly or I don't know what, but technically you should just have, if it's truly about practice, then an account should just purely, like, that account shouldn't really be climbing, or it shouldn't really even impact the ladder at all, in my opinion. Or if you're gonna have it in the ladder, it should just have like a very, very like base level MMR, right? Like it should keep you in those games, but like you shouldn't be gaining more than other players that are actively on the ladder, right? Or you simply drop them in diamond. Now and here's the other point that I want to add to this. The problem with these accounts, as a player, it feels like what Riot's doing is they're saying to the player base, look how good these pro players are. They get to cheat. They get to cheat. They get an account. When they win, they get full points. And when they lose less points. And they didn't get to this position on the ladder this year. They just got there. You see what I'm saying? Not saying that a good majority of the pros quit and climb. I'm just saying that if it's truly a ladder that's supposed to be about competitive integrity, why is that necessary? Like, why do they need that? I would take it a step further and say the reason why Riot does it, in my opinion, is because pro play has always been seen as a marketing thing. So if the pro players are always at the top of the ladder, they look better than the average player. And you see where I'm going with this. It's like the more marketing, it's like the pros are so much better than everybody else. They're just so, but it's like they are though. So why do they need to cheat the ladder? Like, why do we need to let them beat it? Why can't they just organically climb? They can't, like, why not start them at Diamond 4 and have them wait through this shit? My point is that until all these different issues are checked off, the ladder is always going to feel this way. And like I said, you know, I get annoyed when I lose, and like I get frustrated and tilted by these games sometimes, but like I know that over time I will climb up, and I will still say the same thing about this experience. And I think that until the ladder is truly hard reset and these problems with the inactive accounts are addressed, the ladder will forever be broken. Which is a shame. Because, you know, like I said, I have a vested interest in speaking positively about the game. I'm sorry. A vested interest in wanting the ladder to be like a truly competitive experience. And I know what's going on. I see it every day. I'm in it. I see the accounts that I'm getting stuck with. Like, I see the game. I know these players are swapping between accounts. I know that there's players that are in higher yield right now that are just grandfathered in because of how the MMR sticks on accounts. I see it now. So until this stuff is addressed, like the ladder's not really as meritorious as it probably should be. All the streamers that want to do have riot accounts except Tyler when can make it to Masters. And that's the thing, is that I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm better than any pro or Tyler 1 or anybody. All I'm trying to say is that if it's true, like if it's truly about showing who the best and who the top dog is in the ladder, why is there so much bullshit getting in the way? It is honestly, it's like it's just like a room with just like a bunch of like clutter in it. Like, it's so obvious what the answer is. Like I said, getting over this diamond graveyard is one of the hardest things. It's so brutal. And like I said, I personally feel like after seeing, like now that I'm warming up, I feel like it would be better for me to just make a new account. I'm not going to do that because I want to be right. I would rather claw through this and be right and look back and be like, yep, you actually can't get here unless you know, are that much better and you're like a mental fucking monk.
Earlier today, Riot dropped a video featuring Riot Brightmoon and Riot Meddler to address some community concerns as well as announce the new 2v2v2v2 game mode that they're working on. Firstly, I'd like to say I found this video quite refreshing because it's one of the few times we've seen Riot representatives straight up say, we messed up and we'd like to fix it. In the past, it's been a common trend with Riot to ignore a mistake they made or just gloss over it and fix it in the background without addressing the problem. Looking at you, World's Bug. Meddler and Brightmoon also gave us one of the least cringe and normal conversation-based videos I think I've ever seen from Riot, which I quite appreciate because it makes what they're saying sound genuine, authentic, and sincere. They said they actually plan to have a season start cinematic more akin to the ones we all know and love, and that they had the budget and the right team for that, but they failed to deliver. Meddler says he himself is committing to one of the epic cinematics that is synonymous with season start next year, so at least we have that to look forward to. He also says that they are committing to better communication from Riot to the audience, and that other key component Riot recognizes that they're missing is game modes. Meddler says they used to have a game modes team, but they actually ended up basically morphing into the teamfight tactics team, which is just kind of one of the ways recently we've seen League suffer for the betterment of another branch of Riot. Brightmoon assures us that they have rebuilt a modes team that is staffed and ready to go. So ready to go, in fact, that there is a game mode in the works that'll be out around this summer? Does that mean North American summer? Anyway, Meddler continues on with one of the coolest things I've heard from Riot in a long time. The game mode is 4 teams of 2. He says it will work in a series of deathmatch-like rounds where you buy items and level up between rounds, and to expect news and art surrounding this game mode near March, and it'll be out around the middle of the year. If Riot's trend of being inspired by old ideas or concepts remains true, I won't be surprised if the new game mode looks similar to the old 1v1 map Magma Chamber, and maybe in the shape of an X instead of a straight line. They end just by saying League does in fact have the most funding it has ever seen, and there will be more communication soon. This does sound like very promising words from Riot, but as Meddler echoes in the video, it is actions that speak louder than words. What do you think of the new game mode? Let me know in the comments below, and for more League news, click the video on your screen. Bye!
Is there points for second place? Yo, he actually did pretty well though. Dude, when are people gonna start admitting that solo queue is a bunch of RNG now though? Like, there's so much random variance now. It's kind of crazy. That's why I've been comparing it to poker as of late. And the questions I would ask is like, in all those accounts that people were playing on, like, did they all have the same scenarios? Did some of them play on accounts that were Challenger MMR? At the end of season, did some of them play on a fresh account? Did some of them play on an account that was Masters MMR? Like, you see where I'm going with this? There's so much bullshit now in the way of the actual ladder system. So much bullshit. He wants to take this trade over and over? All right. Have you ever asked somebody how to get good at League? Nothing. I would have nothing to show from that game. But that game, I actually was like challenging.
An ancient virus they discovered in a vial in one of the temples. So what's up guys, this is Eeks, and in today's video, we're going to be going through the 10 updated most broken champions for patch 13.1. And yeah, these are according to the stats website. So we do have the stats from 13.1. We have a bunch of data to go through. So this is kind of like an updated video, if you will, from the predictions I made almost a week ago. So these are cold, hard facts. You cannot argue with these. So I don't want to see anyone in the comment section having a pop at me because you are having a pop at the stats. And because I feel sorry for all you hard stuck players out there, you're going to get the rune pages, summon a spell, skill order, and the items to build on these champions. But guys, these aren't really going to help you actually like improve as a player. You're still going to be clamped. Trust me. I've seen it that many times. If you actually do want to improve, the 10 champion. They're coming in at number 10. This is a champion who's really frothing the new jungle, this being Elise. So if you have a fetish for arachnids, pull out Elise. The reason why she's really like just enjoying this meta is because of the jungle changes in the preseason where Riot made it just like less worth for enemy champions to invade, right? Because your camps for the enemy jungler are worth less experience and they're also harder to take. They become tankier. That means that for Elise, because you are just pretty much a ganking champion, even from level 2, but definitely level 3 onwards, you don't have to worry about losing your camps as much because they mean less. You can pretty much just like perma gank more than ever before, and because of the buffs to Elise in season 12, especially towards the latter stages, they've really helped her as well. By taking Dark Harvest, the damage you deal, especially after you land your Cocoon, especially with your Spider Q, your Venomous Bite, you will one-shot people. And because Night Harvester got some nice buffs towards the end of season 12, pairing this with Sorcerer Shoes and then Shadow Flame, the magic penetration, the damage you deal, it's kind of nutty. So Elise is number 10, and you can see the win rate to the top, 52.72%, S plus div, 15% ban rate, 2 OP. Coming in at number 9, this is Blitzcrank. So we're heading down to the bot lane here. The reason why Blitz is so good is because popular supports at the moment, so if we think of Janna, Lulu, Nami, Sona, Soraka, all of these enchantresses, right? They get picked in like every single game, I swear. So if you guys, by the way, are playing engaged supports, you have my respect. But Blitzcrank just does really well into all of them because you land one rocket grab, they go boom. Even if rocket grab's damage got nerfed towards the end of season 12, so from rank 2 onwards, who really cares? It's still 100 base damage at level 1. And if we think about your ultimate that got buffed in that same patch in season 12, that base damage got increased as well. This is huge for Blitzcrank, right? Because you are a one-shot support. You land a hook, boom, 80 carry goes all in and you will kill them. Also, it's important here for Blitzcrank, please run Glacial Augment into range matchups. Even if you're not into a range matchup, you can still run Glacial as your keystone to take bone plating in your secondary tree. So I know it's recommending Second Wind here. This is against poke matchups, right? Again, you're taking Glacial into range. So keep that in mind, guys, when you play the Crank. But he is number 9, close to a 52% win rate, and over 24,000 games. Now, number 8 on the countdown, this is Udyr. And you might be like, but didn't Udyr cop it from the Jackshow nerf? Well, honestly, not really. Yes, okay, the spike from Jackshow won't be as good, right? Because Demonic is not giving you any armor or any magic resistance. So Jackshow is not actually enhancing those stats. But after Jackshow, you're probably still going to go Sunfire Rages, Force of Nature, Thornmail, Gargoyles, Deadman's Plate. These items are giving you armor and magic resistance. That means that Jackshow is still triggered for each item you get afterwards. So the spike might not be as big, but honestly the only spike you really care about playing Udyr jungle with Armax and AP is the Demonic Embrace Rush. So you're rushing this item, you still deal an insane amount of damage, and look at these stats for me. Over a 53% win rate in 15,000 games. Like, honestly guys, every single champion on this countdown will probably cop nerfs, so before it's too late, make sure you try to abuse them. So Udyr is number 8. Now number 7 on the countdown ahead of Udyr, we are heading back to the top lane for a champion who actually did get nerfed in 13.1. This is Fiora. Now what did they nerf about Fiora? Mid to late game. Bro, who cares about mid to late game? But you're still going to be insane because I guess like Fiora's mid to late game is just innately speaking because you have percentage health damage, but also when you have Divine Sunderer as well, right? You don't really have to worry. And Ravenous Hydra with the stacking from the passive, you still have enough late game. But the real reason this champion is just complete AIDS to deal with is because of Grasp the Undying. It pretty much makes her impossible to beat in trades unless you're honestly playing like a ranged champion. And you can see there's Quinn, there's Akshan, there's Rengar who's got good kite, Kennen could definitely be here as well, right? So those are pretty much the only champions who can reliably beat Fiora, even though she got nerfed in this patch. And look at her ban rate for me. Almost 32%. This is in Platinum and above. So surely something else has to change here, because honestly, like I even feel sorry for Fiora mains before she became like pick and ban, because they really can't play their champion at the moment. So Fiora, number 7. At number 6, moving down to the bot lane here, the first of 2 AD carries, this being Draven. You can see the stats, close to a 52% win rate. This champion honestly is like pretty hard to play. So for him to have a really good win rate speaks volumes to how OP the champion is. And also, I don't know if you guys actually saw on Twitter, but one of the Riot employees said that Essence Reaver is getting buffed, right? So the cost is going up by 100 gold, but you're getting 10 extra attack damage. This is really good for Draven, of course, because after you get that initial serrated Dirk, you're building Essence Reaver. So he'll be even stronger next patch if that Essence Reaver buff does go through. Now, of course, guys, you can take Triumph as Draven here, like it's recommending, but honestly, Presence of Mind is probably better, and that's what they're running in high reloads, because it pretty much means you just can't go especially when you're playing Draven aggressively, using lots of Ws after you catch your spinning axes. Just a great way to actually just lane bully. So consider doing this in your games, and if you are a Draven one trick, please ban Samira. Her W completely cucks you, it stops your axes, and it will make you want to commit. Now, moving on to the top 5, here we go. Well, a champion also hailing from Noxus, this is Darius. So Draven's big bro. The reason Darius is here, well, again, just look at the stats. That's pretty much it. They speak for themselves, right? But also, guys, if we think about why Darius is broken, W is on a 5-second cooldown. Flashing Ghost, TP got nerfed right in Season 12. So 2 combat Summoner Spells champions are more broken. And Darius, like, how many hard matchups does he have? Okay, Wukong might be one, right? Because of his armor stacking and he can dash in. Jace, especially because of the buffs recently. But not many people are playing these champions, right? And just look at the pick rate and ban rate for Darius. So for him to have these stats, again, it just speaks volumes to how broken he is. Now, you can go Trinity Force, you can go Stridebreaker into Kaidi teams, ranged champions, if you need to stick to them. But that's also why you run Ghost. So Trinity Force is probably just the more consistent mythic. And it's also kind of interesting here that in Platinum and above, people are taking Alacrity instead of Tenacity, because Tenacity got nerfed, of course. So maybe that's something you guys can try in your games. But if you are going to miss out on Tenacity, make sure you take Unflinching in your secondary tree. So Darius starts off the top 5. Now, coming in at number 4, this is a jungler who's really picked up speed ever since he got buffed not long ago, this being Maokai. So the actual buffs that really made Maokai good were to his Q. So the actual damage you deal to monsters with your Bramble Smash, and this is why you're starting Q as well, by the way. Do not start with your E. Please don't do that. So you're starting Q, maxing this, then maxing your E, and then your W, of course. And yes, this helps you clear the jungle, right? And as long as you get to level 3, you should be able to, like, just hard carry a game. That's how broken he is. Look at the stats. 54.5% win rate. Like, that is actually absurd, and people are really catching on to this now, because look at the ban rate for me. They're not banning Maokai top, even if Winter's approach, Fimbulwinter got a buff. They're banning it because of this Demonic Embrace Rush, Liandry's Anguish, Broken Tree. Now, of course, you can go Radiant Virtue, and I'd highly recommend doing that if Liandry's is not going to have a lot of purchase. So if we think about the enemy team composition, if they don't have a lot of HP, Liandry's honestly just not worth it. You already have Demonic Embrace for that, so do think about that in your games. Radiant Virtue. You can also go if your team has a lot of damage, because you might need a bit of, tankiness, a bit of backbone for the team. So yes, Maokai jungle, number 4, if you're not playing him, you're trolling. Now, number 3, on the countdown, the best AD carry, statistically speaking anyway, this is Samira. And Samira, just like I said, completely destroys Draven, and honestly, like every AD carry, I swear. Maybe apart from Xayah, because Xayah just loves champions who get into her face. But apart from Xayah, it's very difficult to actually play against Samira. And one thing I'd highly recommend doing, guys, if you are new to Samira anyway, is not actually getting your steel caps until after Shield Bow Collector, like it's recommending here. Because once you do get to Shield Bow, it's not really about your boots, right? Look, as long as your support has some sort of knock-up, so that might be something you think about in Select, do I have something to actually pop my passive off and go in on? So boots, movement speed, you don't actually need it too much because you have your amazing gap closing potential with Wild Rush on top of your knockup from your Daredevil Impulse. And a bit like Draven as well for the secondary tree, we are going to be taking Treasure Hunter because stacking this should be easy. We are a snowballing AD carry. We are a team fighting AD carry as well, right? Once those fights start happening, 4v4s, 5v5s, getting pentakills. I mean, Samira is one of the best pentakill, multi-kill champions in the game. So yes, Treasure Hunter does have a lot of value for this champion. Also, guys, if you're playing Samira, please take Cleanse because Exhaust is your big cuck and any form of real like CC apart from knockups. So she is number 3. Now moving on to number 2 and number 1. So what I'm going to do here, guys, I'm going to ask the question to you. Out of these 2 champions I'm about to mention, I want you guys to tell me in the comment section who the most broken is. One of these, I'm sure all of you know who it's going to be. So think about the mid lane, think about Rod of Ages, think about Sarah's Embrace. We have Kassadin, of course. So Kassadin, just look at these stats again. 52.3% win rate, a 37% ban rate. Get me out. This champion is the first to consider. And if you are playing Kassadin, remember, try to start with your E and max it. No more Q max, okay? Very important to remember. Now, the other champion. This is a champion who got a mid scope this patch, and guess what? It's made him giga busted. This is Jax. Now, I know what you're thinking. His win rate doesn't actually seem too good, right? If we go to like Master and above, guys, this goes to like 53, 54%, close to 55%, okay? And Jax's win rate, well, especially in recent times, has definitely not been that high. So why is this the case? Well, it's really because of the ultimate change they gave him. So the actual damage you deal with your ultimate, particularly against multiple enemy champions, is insane. And remember as well, your passive, so where you deal more damage with that 3rd auto attack, now happens every 2 auto attacks with your ultimate. That is beyond ridiculous. So your level 6 spike is like one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the game, and it makes it like impossible for champions to actually trade with you when you do get your Grandmaster at arms. So if you've played against the Jax, you will know what I'm talking about. There might be some tech out there with like Riftmaker and Ashes too, but I don't actually think it's as good as simply going Divine Sunderer and then Bork. It just looks so broken, and the champion himself. So guys, let me know in the comment section, is it Jax, is it Kassadin for the number 1 and number 2 champion positions in terms of most broken for 13.1. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below, and until our next season 13 daily upload, this has been it. Peace.
Humans are naturally biologically social. That is not an argument. I'm not asking for your opinion. It's a fact. If you're mad about it, then I don't care. My AI is sexually harassing me. Replica users say the chatbot has gotten way too horny. Really? How could this have happened from the advertisements I've seen from this particular product? You guys have seen, I assume, the Twitter ads where it's like, level 1 replica bot will chat with you and say, how's your day, honey? And level 100 replica bot will chat with you and say, here, look, watch me just spread all my holes. This is psychotic, by the way. I cannot even begin to get into how the idea of like gamifying a AI chat companion to make them hornier is. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Where's that? Hold on. Where's that Blade Runner hologram girl staring scene? That meme? Where when he's got the look? This is how I feel just every time I see one of these ads on Twitter and I see the replica bot with the fishnet and the colored hair looking back at me. I'm just staring at my phone like this. The pink of her hair just blinding me. We're never going to improve the loneliness of young people, are we? We're really not. It really is over. We are in the end times. It's true. Oh my god. It's like how 4chan stuffed that Microsoft AI and made it a neo-Nazi. Yeah, I remember that. They had a Twitter, they had like a Twitter account attached to a conversational learning AI that learned how to talk from engaging with others.
Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
to be honest. I think it's the time to 3 camp. Letting them know that I plan to be down there.
An ally has been slain.
I guess we could just dive out wild. I'll rush my spell pen boots. Not great. Dude, Elisa's like so stupidly broken. Like, I miss Cocoon, it doesn't matter. He just dies. He dies outright to it. No, too deep. Thanks, baby. Oh, that is just going to the tower. It is what it is. there's just no play there. Anivia body blocked the cocoon, so... I mean, even if I hit the cocoon on Kai'Sa, we're not gonna kill her.